Hello, lovelies. Daddy's here. All right. So, oh wait, let me say hi to you guys first. Hey, Wing Chun, how's it going? Hey, Hope. Lin homies? Are we the Lin homies now? Hey, Bigfoot, how's it going? Nikki, thanks for joining. Nice of you to join. What's up, Joshua? Dan, what's up, Dan? Um, so today's stream, so I set it to be low latency. So I hope it doesn't lag too much. So apparently on YouTube, there's 3 types of latency. There's normal latency, low latency, and ultra low latency. And I think what it does is like, so normal latency means like there's a 10 to 15 second delay on the chat, I believe. Yeah, that's normal. But if you go low, you can just lower that number. Yeah, so that's what I did. I don't know what is the latency now. Toho, what's up, Toho? Hey, Kai, how's it going? Hey, Katie, nice of you to join. What's up, Losh? Yeah, I think, well, we can look it up, right? Hold on. Yeah, it'll be cool if there's less latency, right? So I can read your guys' chats earlier. YouTube live stream latency. So what's the delay? So normal is what we've been using. What doesn't say. It doesn't say how many seconds it's delayed at. Seconds. Let's see. Who do I believe? So normal latency results in a 15 to 60 second. It can't be 60 seconds, right? I don't think we've ever experienced 60-second delay. Low latency results in a 5 to 15 second. So that's what we're on now. Yeah, the problem with low latency is that it can get laggy. So let me know if it lags. Unfortunately, if it does, then we'll have to end the stream and then restart it with normal latency. So it says ultra low is 2 to 5 seconds. That's very fast. But let's go with low latency first to see how it goes. Oh yeah, I want reverse latency. True, Nikki. I want you to chat to respond to me before I ever say anything. Like a negative 5 second delay. So yeah, we're at low latency, so hopefully it's okay. Seems to be fine now, hopefully. Do you guys like miso soup? Hell yeah. I love miso soup. I just bought miso ramen, instant noodles. Instant ramen, miso flavored. Should we do? All right, should we do the freaking Wordle? Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. 6:06. All right. I'm going to get this in like 1 minute. All right, let's go. 6:06 p.m. Start with Stomp. Oh, good. Good start. Oh, I have a feeling we're going to get it today, guys. This must be sauce. No. There's an E. It must be sauerkraut. Sauron. Sauron. No. Saub. Saub. Sau. Sau. Nope. Salut. Salute. No. Salut. No, there's no T. Salam. Salul. Sag. Safe. A and U, guys. A and U. Maybe scout. Sad. Sag. Sag. Sack. Saku. That doesn't make any sense. Let's do sauce. There's no E, but then we get the C, and we'll get to see where the A and U goes. S, X, U, A, X. Does that look right? Stuart. Stuart. Shuka. No. Slew. What is this word? Snoo. Snoo. Oh God. Shual. Shula. Shuna. Shui. What is this word? Stew? Snoo? Sboo? Svoo? Skew? Skoo? Shoota. What? Alright, we gotta eliminate consonants then. I can't think of it. How about fight? We eliminate F, G, and H. No. Shoe. Is this shoe? Shula. Shuba. Shushu. Fight. Okay. Okay. It's not Shu. Slew. Oh God. Slug. Slub. Luna. Luva. It's either SW or SYU or SL, right? SK? Skuka. Skusa. Oh no. Skull. This might be our first loss, guys. First loss on stream. Skull. Not SKU, right? That doesn't make any sense. SLU slug. Slugga. Is that a word? Stewart. Stewart. Sludge. Sludge. Slud. Do. Oh, I'm stupid. What is this? I can't think of it. Swoo? Oh, oh, wait. Squall. Is that a word? Squawk. No. Squay. Squad. Squad! Wait. Squad, right? Squad? Squad. Oh! Alright. Not a loss. Pretty good. Squat. You got it on the last try. Slooch. I did not lose. Hell yeah. Swing. Alright, some people got it. Someone got it, yeah. Alright, cool. Yay. Oh, I didn't share the screen. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Well, that sucks because I can't even. I wasn't even looking at the chat, so I can't even. You guys can't even notify me. There was Stomp. I did Array. I did Sauce. But I couldn't think of anything. So I had to eliminate some consonants. So I did Fight. And finally, I was like, Slew, Sboo, Shwoo. Which is so stupid. Should have known. Q comes before you. Squad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't share the screen. I'm so sorry. It took you a while to figure out what was going on. He's like, what is this guy doing? What is this guy doing? Just screaming out freaking like random letters and random words. What a weird stream. I'm sorry. I didn't share the screen. You know what? To make it up, want to play another game? We can play a fast game, okay? Do you guys think that you know all of the 50 states and where they are, their locations? Do you guys think you know that? Let's test it out. US states game. All right. All right. I hope I know. Well, we're shooting for 100%, guys. We're shooting for 100. Am I sharing the screen? Okay. We're shooting for 100%. Okay. 100%. Oh shit, the timer is going. New Hampshire. New Hampshire. This is Vermont, I think. So this would be New Hampshire. Because Bernie lives here. New Hampshire. Okay. Oklahoma is this. That's easy. Mississippi would be. This is Alabama, right? Mississippi. Connecticut. Fuck. All right, shooting for 100%, guys. 100%. Connecticut. This is Massachusetts, right? So this would be Connecticut. 100%, guys. 100%. Delaware. I think this is Delaware. I think it's Delaware. Okay. Alaska. That's easy. Maine. We got this. Idaho. Easy. North Carolina. Wait. South Carolina, North. This is Virginia, right? North Carolina. Montana. Tennessee. New Mexico. Arizona. Ohio. Oregon. Washington. Wyoming. This is Wyoming, right? This is Colorado. Wyoming. All right. Shooting for 100%. 100%. Indiana. This is Illinois, so this must be Indiana. New York. That's easy. Illinois. West Virginia. Pennsylvania. Vermont. Arkansas. Missouri. Kentucky. This is Virginia, right? Okay. Nebraska. This weird little guy is Nebraska. Or is it this? Oh, fuck. What is this? What is this? It's Nebraska. For 100%, guys. 100%. Iowa. This is Mass. Alabama. This is Michigan. This must be Wisconsin. Oh, I always get these mixed up. Is it the other way around? Is this Wisconsin? No, this is Wisconsin. New Jersey. Georgia. 100%. Virginia. Kansas. Oh, this is Kansas. Florida. Rhode Island. South. Texas. My state. Nevada. North Dakota. Hawaii. Minnesota. Michigan. Oh, we're getting it. 100%. Louisiana. Utah. Colorado. Maryland. Hell yeah. Can you cheat? No, you can't cheat. Okay. This is not that impressive. Okay, I know I live in the United States, so I should know my states. Slow? 3 minutes? Yeah, that's probably slow. I am officially American. Now, if it's a map of Europe, I would have no idea. Or any other place. What is the name of the site where you guess word based on definition? Semantle. It's called Semantle. But we're not playing that today. That takes way too long. But if you want the website, this is Semantle. You could get half of Europe? All right. Maybe we'll do that next time. Okay, it's did you guys see the fire? So we made national news, right? I live in the Bay Area, and we actually made national news. because our Home Depot got caught on fire for some reason, randomly. Yeah, and it made the national news. So images. It was a huge fire, okay? It was huge. It's a whole Home Depot. And the thing is, like, you know, Home Depot, right? Apparently it started at the lumber yard. It started at the lumber section with all that wood and all those planks. Yeah. And I bet the propane tanks didn't help matters. So it's huge. I feel really bad. Yeah, we made the news. I don't know what is up with California and fires, man. It's always fires all the time. I know, I feel really bad, but all that wood, right? All those planks, and then tools, drills, everything. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know what is up with California and fires. And today is super windy. Okay. Luckily, I don't think it was that windy that day, or the fire could have spread. Is everything in California flammable? Basically. But it's super windy today, and I hope the roof of my patio is okay. If you remember last year, okay, it was super windy and it just blew off the roof of my patio. It's gone. It was gone. All right. So I rebuilt it. All right, just me. All right. I rebuilt it all by myself. A little help from my dad. Just a little bit, a little help from my dad. Otherwise, I built it all myself. And yeah, so I built it. And it's stayed up so far, right? So it's been pretty good. The only problem I've had with it is that it leaks. All right, it leaks. So whenever there's a lot of rain, the rain goes through the patio. I've been trying to fix that. I know where it comes from. It's like when I drilled in the screws. But there are issues. Okay, so the water goes into the screws, right? So it seeps into the screw holes, and then it drips underneath the patio. So what I've had to do is climb up there, and then I had to caulk up those screws where the places where it leaks. So I've done that, right? But the problem is, I do that, and then it's okay for a while, but then afterwards, like after a couple of months, it starts leaking again. Okay, I didn't know why. Until this week. Because I've climbed up there. Okay, and the careful caulking that I've done, it's like when I climbed up there, it's all gone. Like it's like it's not covering the holes anymore. And I was like, why? Why does that happen? Right? So I figured it out. Like one night this week, okay. It was like a couple of days ago. Yeah, I was in bed, and it was like 3 or 4 in the morning. And I couldn't sleep, right? And then suddenly I hear something. And you're like dun, 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 dun. It's like dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Right? So I sleep right next to the patio. Right? So my bedroom was like right next to the patio. I hear dun, 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 dun. I'm like, what the hell is that? So usually at night there are like animals going around the roof. They like night animals, whatever. And they make a little bit of noise, right? But this time there was a lot of noise. A lot more than usual, right? And it's like it feels like animals are fighting. That's what it sounded like. So I was like, what's going on? And I looked up and I see shadows. All right. And they're like, there's an animal like going around making a lot of noise, right? Going around on the roof of my patio. And I was like, what is going on? And I come out with a flashlight and I'm like, and I shine it up there. And it was this big old raccoon. Big old raccoon, right? It was pretty big. I thought raccoons were like tiny. No, it's huge. It's huge. And there were two of them. Okay, and I think they were fighting. I don't know what they were doing. I hope they weren't mating. But they were like, do. And they're causing a ruckus up on my patio. They must, so they're very heavy too, right? So I can see the dents. Well, whenever they run, it makes a depression, right? So that's what they've been doing, probably. They've been messing up the caulking on my patio. That's why it leaks. Okay? Yeah, I tried to chase them away, but I didn't know what to do. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, okay? It was 3 o'clock in the morning. You know what I did? So I shined a flashlight in their eyes. And it seemed like they didn't even care. They weren't scared. Okay, I shined it right straight into one of its eyes. Right, one of the raccoons. And it was like this. He wasn't scared at all, right? So, but I did it. So I was like, I tried to scare him away. So I went, "Pah! Pah! Ha!" That's what I did. 3 o'clock in the morning. I hope no one heard me. I hope my neighbors weren't watching. And I ran towards it. But it was on the roof, right? That kind of scared it, and it ran like around, but I think it was still on the roof. I don't think I scared it away. Do I have a sexy roof? No. You have good aim? Yeah. So I guess that's what's been happening. A lot of animals on the roof, and they mess up the roof, so it leaks. I don't know what to do. I have no idea what to do. I can re-caulk it, but then they'll just mess it up again. What happens? What do I do? I live in Texas. I live in California. Raccoons are big, guys. I thought they were tiny animals, but they're huge. They're gigantic. I don't know what to do. Now I think my roof is gonna leak forever. Or I can try to pay someone to make the roof for me properly. Because I think I made the holes too big, and that's why the water gets through. Anyways. Doop, 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 doop. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Are you ready? A wet roof won't catch fire. Yeah, but it doesn't always stay wet. All right. So, what happened last week? All right. Not gonna lie, I don't remember much. So last week, Don Yu and friends, or hero Don Yu and his friends that he just met, they meet two groups that came to the manor of the Murong family, all right? And apparently both of these groups, they're both looking for revenge upon the Murong family because they thought the family killed their people, I believe. One of the groups was the Qin Cheng sect, all right? Now, while talking Wang Yuyan, which is the girl that we just met, the girl who's in love with Mu Rongfu, who is the young master of the Murong family, right? And she's also his cousin. Yeah. So Wang Yuyan, she blurts out that one of the dudes from the Qincheng sect is using the martial arts of their enemies, right? Because he was practicing his martial arts. He was demonstrating his martial arts, and she is very good, right? She's very knowledgeable in martial arts. So she blurts out that this dude is using the martial arts of the enemies of the Qingcheng sect. So apparently the Qingcheng sect has mortal enemies, which is the Penglai sect. Okay? And apparently, so this revelation, this leads to the reveal that Zhu Baokun, which is the guy from the Qingcheng sect, this Zhu Baokun guy was a spy of the Penglai sect, sent to infiltrate the Qingcheng sect to steal their martial arts, right? And it looks like he actually is a spy, but it seems that he has shifted loyalties, or at least he's very conflicted about it. So it didn't seem like he was a problem to the Qingcheng sect. However, their leader, Sima Lin, was not buying it. Okay, he's not buying it, and he attacks the guy. Okay, so he attacks Zhu Baokun, and Zhu Baokun has to defend himself against 3 people. Which normally would be a real big problem. However, Wang Yuyan is in the sidelines and she's yelling moves at Zhu Baokun so that he can defend himself with against these 3 people, right? So as he's fighting, she's shouting moves for him to use, and he's using those moves, and he's actually doing pretty well, and I think he injures one of the guys too. I think that's where we left off. How's that? Let me check the screen. Boop. No. Do. All right. Oh, we're ready. We're ready. Chapter 13, Part 2. Sima Lin. So Sima Lin is the leader of that Qingcheng sect, okay? So he wants to fight this traitor. Sima Lin thought to himself, if I want to kill Zhu Bao... Oh shit, what is the voice that I gave him? I forgot. Oh well. Sima Lin thought to himself, if I want to kill Zhu Baokun, this son of a turtle, first I'll need to think of a way to shut this girl's mouth and keep her from giving him advice. Remember, she's on the sidelines. She's yelling moves at him, right? So the Sima Lin guy wants to stop her. But just as he was trying to think of a strategy by which he could harm Wang Yuyan, he heard her say, Mr. Zhu, you are a disciple of the Penglai sect. For you to deceive your way into the Qingcheng sect in order to steal their martial arts is extremely inappropriate. However, I do believe that you were not the one who harmed the old master Sima Wei. Based on your level of martial arts, even if you taught another expert the skills of the Qingcheng sect, he definitely would not be able to use the moon-destroying all technique to kill old master Sima Wei. But you are still to blame for stealing other people's martial arts secrets. Quick, go apologize to the sect leader Sima, and we'll consider this matter settled. Zhu Baokun thought that her words were just. In addition, she had saved his life, as he had only escaped from danger based on her advice. He could not disobey her commands and immediately bowed deeply towards Sima Lin. He said, "Martial brother, sect leader, it is your junior brother's fault." Sima Lin leapt to one side, then fiercely cursed, "You bastard son of a turtle! You still have the face and the audacity to call me your martial brother, sect leader?" Wang Yuyan called out, "Quick, sauntering about the East China Sea." That's a move. Zhu Baokun's heart went cold. He immediately rose up and leapt 3 feet into the air. With a number of chi sounds, over 10 green hornet nail projectiles passed underneath his feet, just barely missing him. If it hadn't been for Wang Yuyan's warning, as well as her specifically instructing him to use sauntering about the East China Sea technique, rather than simply saying beware his hidden projectiles, his focus would have been on the opponent. How could he have guessed that Sima Lin would shoot out green hornet nails from his sleeves? By then, it would have been too late to dodge. The technique Sima Lin had just used was named Heaven and Earth Within the Sleeves. This was an ultimate skill which the Sima family passed down only to their children, and not to the other disciples of the Qincheng sect. This was a household rule, and not even the 2 elders knew this technique. Sima Wei did not pass this skill to Zhu Baokun because he had to obey the ancestral rules. This couldn't be considered hiding something from him. Zhu Baokun couldn't have imagined that Sima Lin, without batting an eye, only needed to tuck his hands inside his sleeves and the hidden weaponry would erupt from the green hornet nail mechanism hidden within. Wang Yuyan not only exposed this trick, but even instructed him on how to avoid the hidden weapons, using the Peng Lai sect's technique, sauntering about the East China Sea. This never-failed trick which Sima Lin had just executed had actually been defeated, as though by ghosts or demons. Pointing towards Wang Yuyan, he cried out, "You aren't a human! You're a ghost! A ghost!" All the teeth in Elder Meng's mouth had been knocked loose, and he had actually swallowed 3 of his teeth earlier. Although he was very old, he was very sharp-eyed, and his hair was still dark, and his teeth were firm and hard. He prided himself on these things. Whenever he lost a tooth, he grieved deeply. Now he loudly cried out in an indistinct voice, "Capture that girl! Capture that girl!" The rules of the Qincheng sect were rigid. Although Elder Meng had a very high status, all actions had to be approved by the sect leader first. Every disciple turned their gaze towards Sima Lin. If he said a single word of approval, they would throw themselves at Wang Yuyan. Sima Lin said icily, "Miss Wang, how is it that you are so very familiar with the martial arts of our sect?" Wang Yuyan said, "I read them in a book. The techniques of the Qincheng sect specialize in trickery, deception, viciousness, and ruthlessness. There aren't a lot of changes or transformations in the techniques. They aren't too hard to memorize." Sima Lin said, "What book is this?" Wang Yuyan said, "Oh, it wasn't a particularly special book. There are 2 volumes of the tome which discusses the martial arts of the Qincheng sect. The first volume is called blank. The second is called blank." What happened? No translation? "You are the sect leader of the Qincheng sect. Naturally, you've read them both." Sima Lin secretly cried, "How embarrassing!" When he was young and first starting to learn martial arts, his father said to him, "In our school's martial arts, there originally were the blank and the blank. Unfortunately, with the passage of time, they were lost, leaving us with incomplete fragments, so that all these years we have not been able to surpass the Peng Lai sect, and causing us to only be able to stalemate them. If anyone is able to uncover these 2 sets of martial arts in their entirety, not only would we be able to destroy the Peng Lai sect with ease, it wouldn't be unthinkable for us to rule the world." Now, hearing her say that she read these books, he couldn't help but feel a fire ignite in his chest. He said, Might you be willing to lend this book to me to read, so that I might see what similarities this book has with the teachings of my sect? Before Wang Yuyan had a chance to reply, Yao Bodang began to laugh loudly. Miss, don't fall for this kid's trick. His understanding of the martial arts of the Qincheng sect is very shallow. He only know. Wait, this is Yao Bodang. So Yao Bodang is the leader of the other group, right? He's kind of a rough fellow. Miss, don't fall for this kid's trick. His understanding of the martial arts of the Qincheng sect is very shallow. He only knows 3 or 4 of the strikes of the Qing character, at most 11 or 12 of the Cheng character's destroying strokes. He wants to trick you into letting him check out your strange and wondrous martial arts treatises. No matter what, you can't lend it to him. Sima Lin's intentions were laid bare by Yao Bodang. Sinister lines of anger appeared on his young face. He said, I personally wish to borrow some books from Miss Wang. What does this have to do with your Qin family? Yao Bodang laughed. Naturally, this affects the Qin family stronghold. Miss Wang has memorized so many strange and exotic martial arts in the world. Whoever gets her will become matchless in the world. When I, Yang Bodang, see gold, silver, pearls, treasure, or beautiful women, I've always stretched my hand out and taken them. How can it be that I'll let such a rare, once-in-a-lifetime treasure such as Miss Wang slip away from my grasp? Brother Sima, if your Qincheng sect wishes to borrow books from her, why don't you come and ask me if I am willing to allow it? Why don't you take a guess? Do you think I will agree? These words Yao Bodang spoke were extremely rude and arrogant, but after Sima Lin and the 2 elders heard them, their hearts were swayed. They thought to themselves, this young girl's understanding of martial arts truly is boundless and unfathomable. Judging from her fragile, delicate appearance, it'll be impossible for her to personally fight and achieve victory, but she obviously has read many weird and remarkable martial arts manuals and has understood how to apply what she has learned as well. If we can manage to take her back to the Qincheng sect, we would be able to learn more than just the 9 strikes of the Qing character and the 18 destroying strokes of the Cheng character. It seems as though Stronghold Master Yao has the same thought. Looks like we need to prepare for a major battle. Yao Bodang continued, Miss Wang, we originally came to cause trouble for the Murong family. From the looks of it, you seem to belong to the Murong family. Once Wang Yuyang heard the words, you seem to belong to the Murong family, she felt both bashful and happy. Her entire face blushed, and she swayed once before saying, Young Master Murong is my cousin. What business do you have with him? How has he offended you? Yao Bodang laughed loudly. You are Murong Fu's cousin. That couldn't be better. The ancestors of Gusu's Murong family owes my Yao family 1,000,000 taels of gold and 10,000,000 taels of silver. It's been centuries, and they owe us interest on the interest. How shall we settle this debt? Wang Yuyan was astonished. How can there be such a thing? My uncle's family has always been rich. How can they owe your family money? Yao Bodang replied, Whether they owe us or not, what does a little girl like you know? I went looking for Murong Bo to get our money back. He agreed to pay us back, but he didn't pay us back a single copper before his feet stiffened and he dropped dead. Since the old fellow died, the only option is to go find his son. Who would have imagined that upon his creditors arriving, Murong Fu would actually hide himself away? The only choice I have is to find something to serve as a mortgage. Oh, so it looks like this group is not looking for revenge. They're looking for a debt that was owed. Wang Yuyan replied, My cousin is generous and straightforward. If he borrowed money from you, he would have repaid you long ago. Even if he didn't borrow money from you, if you asked him for some gold and silver, he would not refuse you. What is this nonsense about him being afraid of you and hiding himself away?" Yao Bodong wrinkled his forehead. He said, "How about this? It's hard to fully debate matters like this in a short period of time. Tonight, why don't you temporarily come north with me, miss? You can stay at the Qin family stronghold for a year or so. I guarantee that the people of the Qin family stronghold won't touch a hair on your head. The wife of Yao Bodong is a famous..." Wait, he has a wife already. "The wife of Yao Bodong is a famous for being a jealous old tigress. I've always been extremely well disciplined when it comes to dealing with other women. Put your mind at ease. There's no need for you to pack either. We'll leave immediately. After your cousin has coughed up the money to repay this debt, I will naturally escort you back to Gusu to allow you and your cousin to be married. The Qin family stronghold will give you a very lavish wedding gift, and I, Yao Bodong, will have to come and drink a wedding toast as well." As he spoke, his lips split into another loud laugh. Wait, how does he know that she wants to get married with her cousin? Does everyone know that except for... Yeah, well, does everyone know that? These words were extremely boorish, and the last few words were all the more mocking. But in Wang Yuyan's ears, they sounded very sweet, and made her very happy. Smiling, she said, "You love to talk rubbish. Why would I go with you to the Qin family stronghold? If my uncle's family really borrowed money from you, most likely it was something which happened a long time ago, which my cousin doesn't know about. All you have to do is produce evidence, and my cousin will definitely repay you." Yao Bodong's original intention was to carry off Wang Yuyan and force her to reveal martial arts secrets. Everything he said earlier about 1,000,000 taels of gold and 10,000,000 taels of silver were all nonsense. Now, hearing how innocent she was in taking his nonsensical story to be true, he said, "It is best if you come with me. The Qin family stronghold is a very fun place. We've raised a pack of black hunting panthers, giant hawks, and deer. Everything is new and exciting. I guarantee that you won't be bored of the place within half a year. As soon as your cousin receives the news, he will immediately come there to find you. Even if he doesn't pay me back, I guess I can just forget about it, and let the two of you go back to Gusu. Oh, what do you think?" These words he spoke caused Wang Yuyan's heart to actually be moved. Sima Lin, seeing her gaze wander and a beaming expression on her face, so she's not very familiar with the outside world, so it seems like she's kind of getting tricked by this very obvious trick. Sima Lin, seeing her gaze wander and a beaming expression on her face, thought to himself, if she actually agrees to go to the Qin family stronghold, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to prevent her from doing so afterwards. Without waiting for her to respond, he immediately interjected, "Yunnan is a place of bitter cold, located beyond the Great Wall. Miss Wang, how could a delicate and tender Jiangnan beauty such as you suffer such torment? My hometown of Chengdu is a city of legendary beauty, known as the City of Silk and Satin. The silk which we produce is famous worldwide. Moreover, we have beautiful scenery and 10 times as many diverting things to do as Yunnan. Miss Wang, in accordance with your beauty, you should come to Chengdu and buy some silk dresses. It would be like a red rose on a field of green plants, each multiplying the beauty of the other. Young Master Mu Rong is both handsome and talented. Naturally, he would like it if you dressed up beautifully for him." She's naive, yep. Duan Yu is just sitting around listening to a man talk about stealing his sister's crush. Oh, hey, let's test out the delay, right? Since we have a new delay, we have a low latency now for the stream. Okay. So when I say ping, you say pong, okay? In the chat. Type pong in the chat, okay? All right, ping. Ping, go. 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000. That's 10 seconds. 10 seconds. That's 10 seconds round trip. So you had to hear me say it, and then you had to type it. So it's like a 5-second delay, right? No, wait. When you type, it actually doesn't take 5 seconds to come back. When you type, it's probably immediate. So it's around like it's probably around like an 8-second delay. Okay. Wait, is that right? The round trip was 10 seconds. So it has to be at least 10 seconds, no? Yeah. So it's like a 10, 11-second delay. Not bad. Before it was what, like 15 seconds? Something like that? All right, we're good. Since he was now certain that his father had been harmed by the people from the Peng Lai sect, he held no more grudges against the Murong family. Yao Bodong shouted, "Farting, farting! Your dog of a mother is letting out a smelly fart! Can it be that the city of Suzhou lacks silk or brocade? Open your dog eyes and take a close look at these 3 beautiful girls. Which of them don't know how to dress up?" Sima Lin let out a cold snort. "It stinks in here. It really does stink." Yao Bodong angrily shouted, "Are you talking about me?" "I wouldn't dare. I'm saying that a filthy dog naturally lets out a nauseating farts." With a swishing sound, Yao Bodong drew the short-hilted broadsword from his waist and called up. You can pre-type if I want. No, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's around like a 10, 11 seconds delay, which is good. With a swishing sound, Yao Bodong drew the short-hilted broadsword from his waist and called out, "Sima Lin, my Qin family's stronghold, compared to your Qin Cheng sect, is probably about on par and matched with each other. But if the Qin family stronghold unites with the Peng Lai sect, we'd probably be able to wipe out your Qin Cheng sect. Am I right?" The look on Sima Lin's face changed. He thought to himself, "His words are not false. After the passing of my father, the strength of my Qin Cheng sect is already diminished. In addition, this traitor, Chu Bao-kun, has stolen our secret martial arts techniques. If the Qin family stronghold becomes our enemies as well, then things will become very difficult. As the saying goes, he who strikes first becomes the master. He who strikes second suffers disaster." Oh, it rhymes. "God damn it. The only option we have today is to launch a surprise attack on them." He immediately said lightly, "What do you propose?" Seeing him fold his hands into his sleeves, Yao Bodong knew that could shoot forth his insidious, hidden weapons at any point in time. Instantly, he became all the more cautious. He said, "I am inviting Miss Wang to stay in Yunnan as my guest, until young Master Murong comes to escort her back home. But you have chosen to meddle in my business and refuse to accept this, am I right?" Sima Lin said, "Your home, Yunnan, is too crappy a place for Miss Wang. I want to invite Miss Wang to come to Chengdu to enjoy herself." Yao Bodong said, "Fine. Let us determine victory or defeat through battle. Whoever wins will be Miss Wang's host." "Precisely so. After all, even if the losers want to be Miss Wang's host, they can't possibly invite her down to the underworld." The meaning of his words was that this wasn't a competition of martial arts, but a life and death struggle, which would determine who would live and who would be destroyed. So things escalated pretty fast. Yao Bodong loudly laughed, then shouted, "The life that I, Yao Bodong, have lived has always been one of lapping blood from the tip of my broadsword. Sect leader Sima, you want to use the word death to frighten me? I have not taken it to heart in the slightest. How shall we compete? Shall the two of us duel with each other? Or shall everyone just charge at the other side? Why don't you just let this old fellow that I am play with you a bit?" Sima Lin suddenly turned his head towards the left, a look of utmost astonishment on his face, as though something bizarre had just happened. Yao Bodong's gaze had been on him the entire time, fearing that he was planning some sort of trick. But now he couldn't help but turn his gaze to the left as well. Suddenly, 3 sneering sounds could be heard. Snapping his attention back, he saw that the hidden weapons were now less than a meter away from his chest. He felt sourness in his heart, knowing that he was in deep trouble. Did he just trick him by just looking on the side, at the side? Just at this critical, lethal moment, something flashed by his chest. With a clattering sound, it knocked aside all of the poisoned nails. The poisoned nails were shot out extremely quickly. And despite Yao Bodong being focused upon his opponent, he still would have been unable to avoid them. But the object which knocked aside the poisoned nails was several times faster than the nails. It was sent out later, but arrived earlier, knocking the poisoned nails aside. As to what exactly was tossed out, no one had seen clearly. Wang Yuyan cried out in a happy voice, "Is it Uncle Bao who's arrived?" An extremely strange voice replied. What does strange voice mean? "'Tis not so, 'tis not so. It isn't Uncle Bao who's arrived." Wang Yuyan laughed. "You claim to not be Uncle Bao. Even before you yourself appear, your 'tis not so comments arrive." That voice replied, "'Tis not so, 'tis not so. I am not Uncle Bao." "'Tis not so, 'tis not so. Then who are you?" The voice replied, "The kinsmen of the Murong family call me third brother, but you address me as uncle. 'Tis not so, 'tis not so. You address me incorrectly." Wang Yuyan's body swayed with laughter as she pressed her hands to her face. "You still aren't coming out?" The voice did not reply. After a while, Wang Yuyan saw that there wasn't a single bit of movement and cried out, "Hey, come out! Come help us shoo out these random people away." But still no sound could be heard. Clearly, the person surnamed Bao had left long ago. Wang Yuyan felt a bit disappointed and asked Aju, "Where did he go?" Aju smiled. "Third brother Bao always had this sort of weird temper. Earlier, miss, you said you still aren't coming out. Originally, he was planning to come out, but after hearing you say that, he would do the opposite to make things awkward for you. I'm afraid he might not come back at all today." Earlier, there was a 99% chance of death for Yao Bodong if it hadn't been for the help of the man surnamed Bao. Naturally, he felt indebted to him. Originally, he held no grudges against the Qincheng sect and felt no enmity towards them. But now it was unavoidable that he would want to kill Sima Lin. Brandishing his short-bladed broadsword, he shouted, "Shameless scoundrel! You secretly shoot out hidden weapons. Do you think you can hurt this old man with them?" With a sweep of his broadsword, he chopped towards the crown of Sima Lin's head. Sima Lin's hands left his sleeves. In his left hand, he wielded a steel awl, and in his right hand, he wielded a steel mace, and his 2 weapons began to tussle against Yao Bodong's broadsword. Yao Bodong possessed great physical strength, and his saber techniques were ruthless and vicious. By contrast, Sima Lin specialized in using small, quick weapons and clever techniques. This was the first time a member of the Qin family stronghold and a member of the Qincheng sect had fought against each other. With each of them being the leader of their respective organizations, this was more than just a life and death battle. This was something which would determine the prestige or downfall of their sects. Both of them were forced to be very careful, not daring to slack off in the slightest. After 70 or so stances had been exchanged, Wang Yuyan suddenly said to Aju, "Check it out. It seems as though the Qin family stronghold is missing more than just 5 strokes from their 5 tigers shattering the gate. saber style. Why isn't Leader Yao using the techniques carrying the sun through the river or valuing integrity, guarding righteousness? Aju didn't know anything about the 5 tigers shattering the gate saber style and found it difficult to respond. In the middle of this fierce battle, these 4 sentences drifted into Yao Bodang's ears. He was greatly shocked. This little lady's eyesight is incredible. It originally was the case that only 59 strokes remained of the 64 strokes of the 5 tigers shattering the gate, saber style. But when my master learned this style, he was not intelligent enough to learn those 2 stances, carrying the sun through the river and valuing integrity, guarding righteousness. Thus, those 2 stances were lost, leaving behind only 57 strokes. In order to save face, I slightly modified the alternate forms of those 2 other strokes, so as to keep the number of stances at 59. She actually saw through it. As it were, the people of the mountain strongholds were a motley, disorderly array, as anyone could mingle together with them. But when Yunan's Qin family led raids to loot and plunder, the leaders were always disciples of the 5 tigers shattering the gate school. The experts of the other sects, knowing that the members of the Qin family stockade would not treat them as one of their own, would not go and try to join forces with them. Yao Bodang's master came from the Qin family. He was not only the chief of the Qin family stockade, but also the leader of the sect leader of the 5. What is the leader of the sect leader? But also the leader of the 5 tigers shattering the gate school of martial arts. His own martial arts level, as well as that of his son, Qin Bo Chi, was very mediocre. Thus, he gave his own rank and station to that of his head apprentice, Yao Bodang. Several months ago, while in Shanxi, Qin Bo Chi was killed by a saber technique, which utilized 3 horizontal chops and a vertical chop, known as the 4 knife strokes of the Wang character. This was the hardest and most fierce technique within the 5 tigers shattering the gate saber style. Everyone believed that the killer must have been Gusu's Murong family. Yao Bodang, remembering his master's benevolence, marshaled the many experts of his stronghold and came to Suzhou to seek revenge on behalf of his martial brother. Okay, so it is. So this group is also seeking revenge. Unexpectedly, he almost lost his life to the poisoned nails of the Qincheng sect before he even had a chance to meet with the master of the place, and his life was actually rescued by one of Mu Rongfu's friends. Yao Bodang hated Sima Lin's vile, treacherous techniques. Now, hearing Wang Yuyan expose the flaws in his martial arts, he felt very ashamed. He wanted to defeat Sima Lin as quickly as possible, so as to maintain his own dignity and prestige within his sect. But his anxiousness to achieve a quick victory made him rash and impatient. He executed several risky attacks, all of which were dodged by Sima Lin. Letting out a loud roar, Yao Bodang brandished his saber in a mighty downward chop. Just as Sima Lin leapt to the left, Yao Bodang suddenly kicked out with his right leg. Sima Lin's body was in midair, leaving him with no place to dodge. Instead, he delivered a powerful thrust towards Yao Bodang's foot, using the steel awl in his left hand, intending to force Yao Bodang to retract his kick. Although Yao Bodang indeed did not follow through with his right kick, his left leg suddenly struck out as well in a tandem strike, attacking the left side of Sima Lin's waist. Sima Lin struck diagonally with his steel mace. With a clapping sound, by chance, it managed to strike Yao Bodang precisely on the bridge of his nose. Blood immediately began to flow from the wound, but at the same time, Yao Bodang's left leg struck Sima Lin on his waist. Unfortunately, since Yao Bodang was struck first, he was startled, causing the power of this kick to have less than 20% of his normal force. Although Sima Lin was hit, he suffered no ill effects at all, aside from some temporary pain. And so, in the twinkling of an eye, victory and defeat had been determined. Letting out a tiger's roar, Yao Bodang charged forward with his saber, but feeling pain so severe that it seemed his head had been split in twain, Yao Bodang's footsteps became staggered, and his footing became unsure. Sima Lin's winning of this battle was highly due to luck. He knew that if he spared Yao Bodang's life, Yao Bodang would cause him no end of trouble in the future. Immediately, he made up his mind to be ruthless. The mace in his hand flashed through the air in an attack. Just as Yao Bodang brandished his knife to defend, the steel awl in Sima Lin's left hand pierced directly towards Yao Bodang's heart. The deputy leader of the Qin family stronghold, seeing that things were going south, let out a loud cry, then threw his short-hilted broadsword directly towards Sima Lin. In the blink of an eye, the room was filled with the sound of wind blowing as over 10 short-hilted broadswords flew through the air towards Sima Lin. As it so happened, within the martial arts of the Qin family stronghold, there was a consummate technique which involved throwing their broadswords at an opponent. Each broadsword weighed roughly between 3 and 5 kilograms. When thrown at an opponent, they carried an extremely powerful force. Now, with over 10 broadswords flying towards him, Sima Lin found himself in a hopeless situation, neither able to deflect them nor able to dodge them. Just when it seemed as though he was about to fall prey to the flying broadswords, a shadow of a man appeared in the room, flying towards Sima Lin's side. Is this the Bao guy? Stretching out his hands, the shadow plunged them into the midst of those flying broadswords, snatching and grabbing at them until he had seized all of them. He clasped them to his chest with his left hand and let out a loud laugh, seating him on a chair in the middle of the room. Following this, he hurled all of the broadswords down to his feet with a clanking sound. Everyone was struck dumb with astonishment. The man seated in the chair was middle-aged, thin and gaunt, extremely tall, and wore a long gray gown. There was a stubborn, perverse look to his features. Having seen his skill in seizing the broadswords, everyone here was both fearful and awed. Nobody dared to say a word. Only Duan Yu was laughing. This brother's movements are really quick. I imagine your martial arts is at a very high level. Sir, might I ask what your undoubtedly famous name is? Before that man had a chance to reply, Wang Yuyan rushed forward and laughed. Third brother Bao, I thought you weren't going to come back and was starting to worry. Wonderful, wonderful. Duan Yu said, Oh, so it's Mr. Bao. Mr. Bao tossed him a sideways glance, then icily said, Boy, who are you? How dare you prattle on in front of me? Duan Yu replied, My name is Duan Yu. I've never studied martial arts and am not a warrior, but during my time stumbling about the Jianghu, I've somehow managed to avoid death up until now. It's really rather remarkable. Mr. Bao turned and stared at him, not knowing how to respond. Sima Lin stepped forward. Bowing deeply, he said, Sima Lin of the Qinchang sect greatly appreciates your assistance. I will never dare to forget your great benevolence and kindness. Mr. Bao, might I ask what your full name is, so that I might forever remember it in my heart? Mr. Bao's eyes flashed, and he suddenly struck out with a kick, knocking Sima Lin backwards into a somersault. He shouted, Do you think you are worthy of knowing my name? I didn't have any intention to save you. It's just that this is the home of Sister Aju. If they remembered you, you little brat, into many pieces here... If they dismembered you, you little brat, into many pieces here, it would have dirtied this place, the waterside pavilion of fragrant sounds. Fuck off! Fuck off now! When Sima Lin saw him kick, he wanted to dodge, but could not do so in time. The fall he took was very humiliating. After hearing Mr. Bao speak such bullying words, according to the rules of the Jianghu, if Sima Lin didn't immediately attack and go all out, he would at least have to arrange a future date for a duel. No matter what, he could not allow himself to be humiliated so badly in front of everyone without even a response. He gathered himself and said, Mr. Bao, today I, Sima Lin, was besieged by many enemies and almost lost my life. I am indebted to you for saving my life. I, Sima Lin, am a person who can distinguish between benevolence and enmity. I will repay your benevolence with benevolence and enmity with vengeance. Please, sir, your move. Sima Lin knew all too well that no matter how long or how arduously he trained, he wouldn't be able to achieve Mr. Bao's level of martial arts. Thus, he could only use the 8 words, repay benevolence with benevolence and enmity with vengeance, to indistinctly put up a muddled response. Mr. Bao wasn't even paying attention to what he was saying. He turned towards Wang Yuyan and said, Miss Wang, how is it that the madam allowed you to come here? Wang Yuyan laughed. Why don't you guess how this happened? Mr. Bao mumbled to himself. This is a bit hard to guess. How do I do his voice? His voice is all over the place. Sima Lin, seeing how Mr. Bao totally ignored his display in favor of talking to Wang Yuyan, felt even more belittled and humiliated than when he had been kicked earlier. He couldn't help but feel hatred towards Mr. Bao. He no longer cared at all about the benevolence which Mr. Bao had shown him earlier. With a wave of his left hand, he led all of the disciples of the Qincheng sect away. Mr. Bao said, Hold! Stay here and listen to my instructions. Sima Lin turned around. What? I heard that you came to Gusu in order to avenge the death of your father. You came looking for the wrong person. Your father, Sima Wei, was not killed by young master Mu Rong. Sima Lin said, Why do you say that? Mr. Bao, how do you know this? High-pitched? Alright, let's do a high-pitched voice for him. Mr. Bao angrily replied, If I say that the young master Mu Rong didn't kill him, then naturally young master Mu Rong didn't kill him. Even if he really killed him, if I say he didn't, then the killing doesn't count. Can it be that my words hold no weight? Sima Lin thought to himself, These words of his are really far too peremptory. He replied, I cannot exist in the same world with a man who murdered my father. Although my skill in martial arts is low, I must avenge his death, even if it results in my body being smashed into powder. Mr. Bao, if you know who murdered him, please inform me. Mr. Bao laughed. Your father isn't my son. Why should I know or care as to who killed him? I'm telling you that young master Mu Rong didn't kill him, but it seems you won't believe me. Fine, let's just say I killed him. If you want to avenge him, come kill me. Sima Lin's face turned ashen pale. How can the murder of my father be treated as a game? Mr. Bao, I know that I am not your match, but if you want to kill me, go ahead, but you are not allowed to humiliate me thusly. Mr. Bao laughed. I refuse to kill you, but I insist on humiliating you. What are you going to do about it? Sima Lin was so furious his chest was about to explode. However, he still did not have the courage to rush forward and stake his life in an all-out attack. He was caught between a rock and a hard place, with neither advancing nor retreating being a good option. He felt extremely awkward. Mr. Bao laughed. Your father's level of martial arts is too trifling. Why would brother Mu Rong bother to personally deal with him? Young Master Mu Rong's level of martial arts is 10 times higher than mine. Think about it. Is your father fit to die underneath his hands? Before Sima Lin had a chance to respond, Zhu Baokun drew out his weapons and loudly shouted, Mr. Bao, Mr. Sima Wei was my instructor and master. I will not allow you to besmirch his reputation after his death. Mr. Bao laughed. You are a spy who snuck into the Qincheng sect to steal their martial arts secrets. What does this have to do with you? Zhu Baokun loudly shouted. Master Sima Wei treated me with the utmost kindness and decency. I, Ju Bao-kun, am ashamed that I was not able to repay him. Today, in dying to protect my departed master's reputation, I will slightly atone for my sins of deceiving him. Mr. Bao, apologize immediately to sect Master Sima Wei. Mr. Bao laughed. I, Bao the Third, have never admitted to making any mistakes in my life, and have never apologized. Even when I know I am in the wrong, I'll argue and debate until my dying breath. Even when he was alive, Sima Wei didn't have much of a reputation. Now that he's dead, his reputation is even worse. This sort of person should have been killed long ago. It's great that he was killed. Great! Ju Bao-kun angrily roared. Draw your weapons! Mr. Bao laughed. Sima Wei's son and disciples are a bunch of worthless trash. Aside from using hidden weapons to harm others, what else are they good for? Ju Bao-kun shouted, On guard! He struck out with the technique, ascending to heaven, descending past hell. A simultaneous attack, using both the steel awl in his left hand and the steel mace in his right. Mr. Bao didn't even leave the chair. He waved the sleeve of his left arm, and a powerful gust of wind struck outwards. As Ju Bao-kun hurriedly dodged, Mr. Bao kicked with his right leg, sending Ju Bao-kun collapsing to the floor. Mr. Bao kicked out again with his right leg, striking him directly on the buttocks and knocking him out of the room. Ju Bao-kun flew through the air, landing on his shoulder and his head. He immediately flipped to his feet, then hobbled and staggered towards Mr. Bao, once more stabbing at his chest with the steel awl. Mr. Bao seized him by the wrist. With a burst of force, he threw him into the air. With a crashing sound, Ju Bao-kun slammed into the ceiling. Falling to the floor, Ju Bao-kun flipped to his feet, then rushed towards Mr. Bao a third time. Frowning, Mr. Bao said, You really don't know what's good for you. What do you think? I won't kill you? Ju Bao-kun cried out, It's best if you kill me. Mr. Bao struck out with both arms, capturing both of Ju Bao-kun's hands. With a cracking sound, he shattered both of Ju Bao-kun's arms, also causing Ju Bao-kun's awl to pierce into his own left side, while his mace hit his right shoulder. Bam! He broke both his arms just like that. Blood immediately began to flow from his new wounds. These wounds he sustained were grievous. Although he still wanted to fight, he no longer had the ability to. Everyone in the Qincheng sect stared at each other, uncertain as to whether or not they should go forward and assist. Most of their hatred towards him had dissipated upon seeing Ju Bao-kun truly be willing to sacrifice his own life in order to protect his master's reputation. This entire time, Aju was silently watching from the sidelines. Now she suddenly said, Master Sima, Master Ju, if Gusu's Murong family truly did kill Sima Wei, how could we leave the rest of you alive? If third brother Bao truly wanted to exterminate all of you, I'm afraid it wouldn't be too hard for him to accomplish. At the very least, he wouldn't have saved Master Sima's life, and Miss Wang wouldn't have tried. Wait, this is Aju talking. And Miss Wang wouldn't have tried so hard to help Master Ju. I suggest that all of you go back home and launch a careful investigation as to who really killed Mr. Sima. Bells for Ju Bao-kun's arms. Let's see. So that's him when who broke his arms. And bells. Sima Lin felt that these words were extremely reasonable. He wanted to say a few words in response, but Mr. Bao angrily said, This is Sister Aju's place. The hostess has asked you to leave this place. Why haven't you scrammed yet? Sima Lin replied, Fine, we'll meet again someday. With a slight nod, he left. Ju Bao-kun and the others followed him out. How is he going to go to the bathroom? I don't know. I don't know. That's a very good question. And how am I going to go to the bathroom like this? Be right back. And we're back. Alright, so Sima Lin leaves with his Chinchang sect. Then we meet this Mr. Bao guy, who seems to be very strong. Then the other group is still here, the Yao Bodang group. Yao Bodang saw that Mr. Bao's martial arts was very high, and that he had a very weird temperament. He very much wanted to make the acquaintance of this incredible Wulin figure, and also wanted to convince Wang Yuyan to divulge more martial arts secrets to him. He immediately rose to his feet and was about to speak when Mr. Bao loudly said, Yao Bodang, I'm telling you right now that your worthless martial brother Qin Bochi wouldn't be worthy of being chopped at a single time by young Master Mu Rong, even if he practiced martial arts for 30 more years. And even if he practiced for 100 or 200 years, young Master Mu Rong would disdain chopping at him 4 times. I won't allow you to say a single word more. Roll the fuck out now. Shocked, Yao Bodang's face turned ghastly pale. He tightly gripped the hilt of his broadsword. Mr. Bao said, Your level of martial arts is way too pitiful. Don't display your meager skills in front of me. If I tell you to roll the fuck out, you should roll the fuck out. There's no room for you to say anything else. Earlier, the bandits of the Qin family's stronghold had thrown their broadswords towards Sima Lin. These swords were intercepted by Mr. Bao and were now piled around his feet. He got all the weapons. As they watched him humiliate Yao Bodang, all of them wanted to attack and kill him, but unarmed and without their weapons, they were like toothless, fangless tigers. Mr. Bao let out a loud laugh and struck out with a series of kicks. Hold on. Mr. Bao let out a loud laugh, then struck out with a series of kicks. Each kick landed on the handle of a broadsword, sending all of the 10+ broadswords slowly flying towards the bandits of the Qin family's stronghold. Each of them caught the broadswords, but as they did so, they were shocked. It had been extremely easy for them to catch their weapons. Clearly, Mr. Bao was intentionally returning their weapons to them. They couldn't help but realize that for Mr. Bao to make it so easy for them to catch their weapons, he could have easily made it extremely difficult for them to do so as well. It wouldn't have been hard at all for him to spin the broadswords around and pierce their bodies with them. Each of them wielded their weapons in their hands, but all of them looked extremely miserable. Mr. Bao said, Yao Bodang, are you going to roll the fuck out or not? Yao Bodang laughed bitterly. Mr. Bao, you have saved my life today. The only reason I am alive is because of your kindness. If you have any orders for me, I will carry them out. I bid you farewell. As he spoke, he bowed politely and waved with his left hand. Everyone, let's go. Mr. Bao said, I told you to roll the fuck out, not walk out. Yao Bodang was stunned. I don't understand what you mean. Mr. Bao said, Rolling means you roll. Are you going to roll or not? Oh shit. That is very humiliating. Oh no. What are they going to do? Yao Bodang thought to himself that this person was extremely strange, clearly insane, and unwilling to listen to reason. Paying no more attention to him, he hurriedly walked towards the main doorway. Mr. Bao shouted, "'Tis not so! 'Tis not so! This is striding! This is jogging! This is walking! This is running! No matter how you spin it, it isn't rolling!" With the flicker of his shadow, he appeared behind Yao Bodang. His left hand flashed out, seizing Yao Bodang by the back of his neck. Yao Bodang tried to defend with his right elbow, but Mr. Bao lifted him up with his left hand, raising him above the floor. Thus, Yao Bodang's right elbow missed him. Next, Mr. Bao stretched out his right hand, grabbing Yao Bodang by the buttocks. He loudly shouted, "This is the home of my sister, Aju. It's not the type of place where you can come and go as you please. Roll your motherfucking ass out." His hands loosened, rolling Yao Bodang's huge form out of the building with a throwing motion. So he literally rolls him out. Yao Bodang's acupoints had been sealed, rendering Yao Bodang unable to stand up. All he could do was helplessly roll on the floor like a giant log until his body exited the building. Fortunately, the doorway was very wide, and his head did not collide with anything. The bandits of the Qin family let out a cry of alarm and rushed out afterwards in unison, stopping his roll. Yao Bodang said, "Quick, let's go, let's go." All of them ran away as though a swarm of bees were after them. Wow, that's pretty embarrassing. Mr. Bao will be played by Samuel L. Jackson. Truth. Mr. Bao looked at Duan Yu up and down, but wasn't able to figure out what sort of fellow he was. He asked Wang Yuyan, "What type of person is he? Should I roll him out too?" Wang Yuyan said, "Aju, Abi, and I were seized by Granny Yan, and were in an extremely dangerous situation. It was our great fortune that young gentleman Duan rescued us. In addition, he knows the circumstances of how Elder Xuanbei was killed by someone using a blow from the Veda scepter technique. We can ask him about it." Mr. Bao said, "So what you're saying is that you'd like for him to stay?" "Correct." Mr. Bao grinned. "You aren't afraid that your brother Murong will drink vinegar?" So drinking vinegar means getting jealous, apparently. Wang Yuyan's eyes widened. "What do you mean, drink vinegar?" Mr. Bao pointed towards Duan Yu. "This fellow is glib and sly. Don't fall for his tricks." Wang Yuyan still didn't understand. What tricks did I fall for? Are you saying he'll make up false stories about Shaolin? I don't think that's the case. Seeing how innocent and naive she was, Mr. Bao felt it was inappropriate to say anything else. He let out 3 cold snickers towards Duan Yu, then said, "I heard that monk Xuanbei was killed in Dali by someone using a blow from the Veda scepter technique, and that a bunch of stupid..." What? We don't know what that says. Stupid what? "That a bunch of stupid assholes are claiming someone from our Murong family did this. What exactly is going on? Tell me the truth." Duan Yu felt very unhappy. He coldly replied, "What do you think you're doing, interrogating a prisoner? If I don't tell you, what will you do, beat me up?" Mr. Bao was startled, but instead of getting angry, he laughed while mumbling repeatedly, "You bold youngster, bold youngster." He suddenly walked forwards and seized Duan Yu by his upper arm. He need only to use the slightest bit of force for Duan Yu to feel pain deep in his bones. Duan Yu loudly cried out, "Hey, what are you doing?" Mr. Bao replied, "I am interrogating a prisoner and cruelly beating him." Duan Yu let him do what he wanted, pretending as though the arm no longer belonged to him. Smiling, Duan Yu said, "Go ahead and beat me up. I won't pay any attention to you." Mr. Bao added more force to his grip, causing Duan Yu's bones to groan in protest, as though they were about to snap. Duan Yu expended enormous effort to resist the pain, continuing to ignore him. Abi hurriedly said, "Third brother, this young gentleman is extremely stubborn and has an extremely haughty temper when roused. He is our savior and benefactor. Don't hurt him." Mr. Bao nodded. "Wonderful, wonderful. Stubborn and has a haughty temper, eh? That's a very appealing trait to me, Mr. 'Tis not so, 'tis not so." As he spoke, he slowly released Duan Yu's arms. Aju laughed. "Speaking of appealing, everyone must be hungry. Old Gu, Old Gu." Raising her voice, she shouted. Old Gu stuck his head out from a side door. Seeing that Yao Bodang, Sima Lin, and the others had left, he was overjoyed and happily skipped inside. Aju said, "First go brush your teeth twice, wash your face twice, and wash your hands 3 times. Lastly, prepare a few exquisite dishes for us. If they're even slightly dirty, Mr. Bao will make things rough for you." Old Gu grinned. "Oh, I guarantee they'll be clean. I guarantee it." The servants of the waterside pavilion of fragrant sounds prepared a banquet for them within a flowery pavilion. Aju arranged for Mr. Bao to take the head seat, with Duan Yu seated next to him and Wang Yuyan taking the third seat. Aju and Abi took the seats on the right-hand side, accompanying them. Not waiting for the tea to be served, Wang Yuyan said, "Third brother, he... Mr. Bao tossed a glance at Duan Yu, then said, "Miss Wang, there's an outsider seated here. There are some things we cannot talk about. Moreover, the fellow here is a sly, glib, pretty-faced playboy. Don't trust him at all." Duan Yu's temper rose as he listened. He suddenly rose to his feet, intending to immediately leave. Abi hurriedly said, "Young gentleman Duan, don't be angry. Mr. Bao always has had this sort of attitude. His formal name is Bao Butong. Butong means different. He insists on arguing or offending people for a bit. Only then can he swallow his food. The day he doesn't offend people with his words is the day the sun rises from the west. Please, sit." Duan Yu glanced at Wang Yuyan. It seemed to him as though she wanted him to sit as well. Although he couldn't be certain of it, in the end, he wasn't willing to give up the chance to enjoy a banquet with her. He once more sat down, then said, Mr. Bao says that I am a pretty-faced playboy, and that I am thus very untrustworthy. I imagine, then, that your young master Mu Rong's appearance is similar to that of Mr. Bao's?" Bao Butong laughed loudly. "Excellent question. Our young master is much more handsome than you, brother Duan." Wang Yuyan, hearing these words, immediately broke out into a radiant smile, which seemed to come from the depths of her heart. Bao Butong continued, "Our young master has a vigorous, heroic spirit to his appearance. Although he is very handsome, it's totally different from your useless, pretty-faced brother Duan. Totally different. As for my humble self, I am heroic, but not handsome. I have an average degree of heroism and vitality, but an extraordinary amount of ugliness. Thus I can be described as an ugly hero." Duan Yu and the others all broke out into laughter. After drinking a cup of wine, Bao Butong said, "The young master sent me to Fujian to handle some business. He wanted me to secretly help Shaolin out in an important matter. As to what that matter is, we'll have to wait until Brother Duan leaves before I can tell you. Since we are trying to become friends with the Shaolin sect, there's no way that we would kill one of their monks. In addition, the young master has never been to Dali. Although Yusu's Murong family is very powerful, I'm afraid we haven't yet mastered the ability to strike a person from thousands of miles away using the blows of the Veda scepter technique." Duan Yu nodded. "Brother Bao's words are very reasonable." Bao Butong shook his head. "'Tis not so, 'tis not so." Duan Yu was startled. He thought to himself, "I said your words are reasonable. Why would you disagree?" Bao Butong said, "It's not that my words are reasonable. This is just how the truth of the matter is. Brother Duan, when you say that my words are reasonable, you leave open the implication that I am simply good at talking, and things aren't actually the way they are. Thus, these words of yours are really incorrect." Smiling, Duan Yu did not reply, deciding there was no need to argue with him. Good choice, not to argue. Bao Butong said, "Yesterday, I returned to Suzhou. I ran across fourth brother Feng, and the two of us pondered over the situation for a bit. It must be that some son of a turtle has grudge against the Gusu's Murong family and is secretly harming others with the intention of having others making out the bill for these crimes to Gusu's Murong family. To tell you the truth, originally this wasn't a big deal at all. What can be better than a nice big brawl?" Aju laughed. Fourth brother must have been exceedingly happy. He can't ask for anything better than a fight." Bao Butong shook his head. "'Tis not so, 'tis not so. How can you say that he can't ask for anything better than a fight? He always asks for fights. Whenever he goes, he likes to get into fights." Seeing how he rebutted Aju thusly, only now did Duan Yu believe Abi's earlier words. This person really did take a perverse joy in arguing against others. Wang Yuyan said, "Did you and fourth brother Feng figure anything out? Who is secretly causing trouble for us?" Bao Butong replied, "Number one, it can't be Shaolin. Number two, it can't be the Beggars sect. Their vice chief, Ma Da Yuan, was killed by someone using the throat locking technique. Ma Da Yuan became famous because of his skill in the throat locking technique. It's no big deal for someone to kill Ma Da Yuan, but for someone to use the throat locking technique to kill him is clearly trouble for Gusu's Murong family." Duan Yu nodded. Bao Butong said, "Brother Duan, you've been repeatedly nodding. You must be secretly saying to yourself that these words of mine are very reasonable." Duan Yu replied, "'Tis not so, tis not so. First, I only nodded once, and was not repeatedly nodding. Secondly, it's not that your words are reasonable, it is simply how the truth of the matter is." Bao Butong laughed loudly. "This is the technique known as using an opponent's skills, exercising them upon the opponent. Do you want to place yourself in service to Gusu's Murong family? What's the meaning behind this? Have you taken a fancy to my little sister, Abi?" Abi's face immediately turned red. Annoyed, she said, "Third brother, you're talking wildly again. I haven't offended you." Bao Butong replied, "'Tis not so, 'tis not so. If he's taken a fancy to you, it's because of your gentleness and adorableness. I said those words precisely because you haven't offended me. What? If you had offended me, I would have reversed it and said that you took a fancy to this pretty boy, but this pretty boy didn't take a fancy to you." Abi was even more embarrassed. Aju said, "Third brother, stop bullying Sister Abi. If you keep on bullying her, the next time I'm going to bully your Liang Liang." Bao Butong laughed loudly. "My daughter's name is Bao Bu Liang. For you to call her Liang Liang is flattering her, not bullying her. Sister Abi, I don't dare bully you anymore." It seemed as though he was actually a bit fearful when others threatened to bully his daughter. Turning his head towards Wang Yuyan, he said, "Sooner or later, we'll figure out which son of a turtle is causing trouble for us. Fourth brother Feng also just came back. He was in Jiangxi. I don't know the details of what he was doing too much. We two brothers went to pay a visit to the Manor of Blue Clouds. Brother Deng's wife informed us that she received the news that a large group of experts from the Beggars clan had arrived in Jiangnan, most likely to cause us trouble. Fourth brother immediately wanted to go out and fight with them. It was tough for her to convince him not to go." Aju smiled. "She's really talented. She actually managed to restrain fourth brother and convince him not to go fight." Bao Butong said, "'Tis not so, 'tis not so. It's not that she's talented. Rather, her words were very reasonable. She said, we need to place primary importance on carrying out the young master's grand mission. We cannot run around cultivating powerful foes." As he said this, Wang Yuyan, Aju, and Abi all grew solemn as they exchanged a few looks. Duan Yu pretended not to notice. Extending his chopsticks, he picked up a piece of stir-fried chicken, put it in his mouth, and said, "Old Gu's techniques aren't that bad, but compared to sisters Aju and Abi, he's still a ways off." Abi smiled. "Old Gu is inferior to Aju, but much superior to me." Bao Butong said, "'Tis not so, 'tis not so. Each of you have your own strengths." Aju laughed. "Third brother, today your sister wasn't able to personally go to the kitchen and cook something for you. Next time you come, I'll make it up to you." Just as she was speaking, two clear, melodious sounds of a silver bell being rung could be heard. Bao Butong, Aju, and Abi simultaneously said, "Second brother has sent us a message." The three of them left the banquet, heading to the eaves of the room. Raising their heads, they saw a white pigeon fly in a circle above them before rushing downwards, coming to a rest on Aju's hand. Abi stretched out her hand, untying a small bamboo tube, which was tied to the bird's leg. She removed the scroll from within the tube. Bao Butong snatched it away from her. After skimming through it, he said, "If that's the case, let's go now," he said towards Wang Yuyan. "Hey, are you coming or not?" Wang Yuyan replied, "Coming where? What's going on?" Bao Butong displayed the letter in his hand. Bao Butong displayed the letter in his hand. He said, "Second brother sent us a message. He said that the Western Sia's League of Elites sent out a large number of experts who have arrived in Jianan. We don't know what their intentions are. He wants me to take Aju and Abi to go investigate." Wang Yuyan said, "Naturally, I'll go with you. Can it be that Western Xia's League of Elites wants to cause us trouble as well? Our list of enemies is growing larger and larger." As she spoke, she frowned slightly. Bao Butong replied, "They aren't necessarily enemies. However, they definitely haven't come here for the sake of tourism. And it's not a religious visit either. It's been a long time since we've met with real experts. Now, both the Beggars Clan and the League of Elites are here. Now things are getting fun." As he spoke, a delighted look was on his face, clearly showing his great joy at the possibility of getting into a big fight. Wang Yuyan walked forwards, intending to take a look at the message. Bao Butong handed it to her. There were 7 or 8 lines of characters on the letter, all written very elegantly and with great vigor. Although she recognized every single character, there was no unity or coherence in the sentences. Although she had read many books, she'd never seen a writing style like this. Frowning, she said, "What's this?" Aju smiled. "This is a weird toy which second brother Gongye thought up. It's derived from poems and song melodies. Words with the flat tone are read with the entering tone, and words with the entering tone are read with the falling rising tone. Yidong thusly becomes Shanxiang. We're used to reading it and can understand it, but outsiders won't be able to make anything out of it at all." Abi saw that Wang Yuyan looked a bit uncomfortable after hearing the word outsiders. She hurriedly said, "Miss Wang, you aren't an outsider. Miss Wang, if you want to learn how to read it, I'll just teach you to you later." Wang Yuyan immediately looked very happy. Bao Butong said, "I've long heard that the Western Sia's League of Elites has accumulated a large number of experts. They have people from all over the western regions of China. If Miss Wang comes with us, all you'll need to do is glance at them, and you'll know what their origins are. After we handle this matter, we'll go to Hunan to meet with the young master." Wang Yuyan was overjoyed. Clapping, she replied, "Wonderful, wonderful. I'm coming with you." Abi said, "Let's take care of business here and go to Hunan as fast as we can. We don't want to be late and miss him when he is on the way back. Also, there's that Tibetan monk. I don't know how much damage he's caused over there." Bao Butong said, "Second brother Gongye's wife has already sent someone to go investigate. That monk already left. Put your heart at ease. Next time, I'll help you beat that monk up." Guan Yu thought to himself, no matter what he says, there's no way he can defeat that monk. Forget about beating him up. You should be thankful. You should be thanking the heavens if he doesn't beat you up. Bao Butong said, "I'm just afraid that if Miss Wang comes with us, the next time Madame Wang sees me, she'll give me a fierce scolding." Suddenly, he turned his head towards Duan Yu and said, "You're always here listening. I'm unable to speak freely and comfortably with you here. If you please, beat it. As we're discussing private matters, we don't need your extra set of ears and lips. When we go fight with others, we don't need you to stand by the side and cheer either." You love how foul mouth Bao is? Me too. Duan Yu clearly knew that his presence here could only irritate others. Now, seeing as how Bao Butong was openly shooing him off in an extremely impolite way, even though he was reluctant to part with Wang Yuyan, he couldn't be so shameless as to still stay. Rising to his feet, he said, "Miss Wang, Aju, Abi, I'll take my leave now. May we meet again." Wang Yuyan said, "It's the middle of the night. Where can you go? Moreover, you aren't familiar with the waterways of Lake Taihu. It's best if you stay here overnight and leave tomorrow." He was about just to leave in the middle of the night. Duan Yu could tell that although she was inviting him to stay, her attention was elsewhere. Clearly, all she wanted to do was fly as quickly as possible to young Master Murong's side. He couldn't help but feel both furious and snubbed. He was the son of a royal family, impulsive and stubborn. Although he had undergone many thrilling events and suffered many torments recently, he had never before received such a frosty reception. He immediately replied, "There's not much of a difference between leaving today and tomorrow. I take my leave." Aju said, "If that's the case, I'll send someone to escort you out of the lake." Seeing how even Aju did not try to convince him to stay, Duan Yu felt all the more unhappy. He thought to himself, "What's so extraordinary about this young Master Murong fellow for everyone to act as though he were some sort of celestial phoenix amongst men? They don't care at all about Shaolin, the beggar sect, or the Western Sia's League of Elites. They just want to reach his side as soon as possible." He replied, "No need. Just loan me a boat. I'll paddle myself out." I don't know if that's such a good idea. Abi mumbled to herself, "But you don't know the waterways. I don't think this is a good idea. Be careful and don't run into that monk again." Duan Yu stormily said, "It's best if you all just hurry and go meet up with your young Master Murong. If I meet that monk again, at most I'll be burnt to death by him. I'm not your cousin or your young master. No need to worry about me." As he spoke, he quickly strode out of the room. Wow, why is he so jealous all of a sudden? As he left, he heard Bao Butong say, "We don't know what the origins are of that Tibetan monk either. We need to investigate." Wang Yuyan replied, "My cousin most likely knows if we find him." Aju and Abi escorted Duan Yu out. Abi said, "Young gentleman Duan, in the future, after you meet with your young master, perhaps you will become good friends with him. Our young master really likes to make friends." Duan Yu laughed coldly. I'm not fit to be his friend." Hearing a large amount of resentment in his voice, Abi felt very confused. She asked, "Young gentleman Duan, why are you unhappy? Is it that our reception of you was too simple and brief?" Aju said, Third brother Bao has always been like this. Young gentleman Duan, please don't be too upset. Allow Abi and I to pay our apologies to you." As she spoke, she grinned and curtsied towards him as Abi did the same. Duan Yu returned the courtesy, then took large steps towards the waterline. Arriving next to a small craft, he immediately tugged at the oars, sailing away into the lake. He felt a deep depression in his heart. As to why he felt this way, even he himself could not say. All he knew was that if he stayed ashore for another moment longer, he would lose control of himself. It was even possible that he would begin to cry. He vaguely heard Abi say, "Sister Aju, does the young master have enough spare clothing? Let's each sew a new set of clothing for him tonight." Aju replied, "All right, you are so attentive and thoughtful." And we're done. Blah, blah, blah. All right, did you guys like that? Not much happened, I think. We met this Mr. Bao guy. Those two groups were scared away. And that's it. No? What else happened? Lots of trolling, yeah. Can I tell you the story again? Nope. You can rewind though. Guan Yu is immediately going to get kidnapped again. True. True. When's the next kidnapping? It's good because every time he gets kidnapped, more fun things happen. So, alright, guys. Are we? Oh, we're halfway. More than halfway. Jeez. All right. Cheers. Okay, guys. I think we're done. Thanks for joining. I love you. And I'll see you next week. All right. Bye.